unofficial visit. And he was here this weekend, and just very, very excited about him. I think he'll be a good player for us. Dominique Johnson is a big physical running back out of Crowley, Texas. He had been on some different trips, and he was another one that had been involved with Missouri. We felt like we needed a big physical back, and so we went after him, and he was ecstatic to be a part of the University of Arkansas, and so he committed to us over the last day or two. Miles Slusher committed to us last night about a quarter till midnight, and his decision was weighing on him. His parents came in here and himself this weekend. I had been recruiting Miles when I was at University of Georgia, and there's a lot of excitement about him. He has speed. He comes from Broken Arrow. David Alexander is the head coach. They won the state his junior year. Has outstanding parents in Blanca and PJ, and it was a good get for us. Next guy is Jashad Stewart. Jashad Stewart was the first guy as a head coach at Arkansas that I was able to see. And the thing I like about him is he's relentless in his effort and the way he plays the game. I had no idea that he's really as big as what he was. I had watched his tape. Obviously, I didn't know him well, but I knew that he loved the Razorbacks. And so after the press conference last Monday, that evening, we flew out there. He was the first guy that I was able to see. And what a wonderful family, what a wonderful kid. Obviously, we're excited about him. Blaine Toll, I went to see him on Tuesday of last week. They had some of the best barbecue possible in Arkansas at their house, and the parents are unbelievable, just very, very fine folks. He's an early out. He'll be here in January. A great-looking kid. We're looking at him as several different positions on the D-line. He can run. He loves the Razorbacks. His parents love the Razorbacks, and he was one that was committed to us, that stayed with us. And currently, they're in Cancun. Cottrell Wallace was the second guy that I saw as a head coach at Arkansas. They have a great family, a wonderful home. He loves the Razorbacks. You know, this guy right here is a really good football player. I think he can play defensive end. I think he can stand up as what you might call a jack linebacker or a weak side backer. I think you can stand him up in a three down front. I think you can put him down on the line in a four-man front. But we're really excited about him and his ability to run with his length. So I'm not positive where we will play him, but I am positive that we're excited that he's on our football team. With that said, we went out. We used every day we had on the road, and and except for Friday. Friday we stayed in because we had recruits coming in the weekend. We had a wonderful weekend. Our staff did an outstanding job hosting, and when we have a little bit more time for the people to get to know us, and when we get them on campus, we feel like we have a strong opportunity to increase our football team in numbers and in talent. So with that said, you can ask any question you want.
Hey, Coach, you got some offensive linemen, linebackers, and safety. Have you had a chance to really, with recruiting and hiring coaches, to look at this roster and kind of decide what needs you have moving forward, and if so, what are those needs for the rest of the class?
Well, I've had a chance to look at our roster. Obviously, I'd be lying to you if I was as in-depth understanding our roster as what I need to. But and I don't really want to say, in all respect to our players that we have right now, I do know that this particular early signing day, we were just going after the best players at any position that we could get. And we want them to be good kids, and we want them to love Arkansas, but we were just going after who we liked off of film, to be honest with you. I think starting tomorrow and on Friday, I think we'll get a little bit more in depth of what we have. To be honest with you, I know what we have. We've watched a lot of tape on our own current players. I talked to all 80-something on the team Monday and Tuesday, but I would rather not go into detail of what we're going after. I think you guys know what we need, and we do too.
Hey, Sam, I don't think Arkansas has beaten Mizzou since your last season here, so it's been a pretty lopsided series. How big is it to flip guys, not just from an SEC school, but a team you play every year, and obviously adding Missouri coaches help? But could you kind of give some more detail on how you flip these guys?
Well, I hire coaches because of a lot of reasons. One of them is because they're great people, and relationships mean something. So if you look over this signing day, and you look at Dominique, and you look at Curry, and I mean, you're looking at guys that had relationships, and they were willing to, when their coaches left, they were willing to come with them. And even if it was another university. So I don't know if it has as much to do with Missouri as it does that we happened to hire some Missouri coaches and they came with them, but we wanted those guys, and we were able, because of the relationships, to get them.
Is it big to flip guys from a school you play every year? Does that happen?
I'm sure it doesn't hurt. We're just trying to get people who want to be here right now, and Missouri's got to do what they got to do, and we have to do what we have to do right now.
Do you have the ability to sign the full allotment of 25, or where are you at with that?
We do, and I'll tell you this, we're going to sign as many good players as we can. But I'll tell you what we're not going to do. We're not going to sign 25 and 5 of them we're not doing somersaults for. We're going to sign good football players and good people. And if the number ends up at 18, then we'll be fine with it. If it ends up at 22, then we'll be fine with it. But we're going after people that we like, and we're going after them obviously in positions of need. But we're not going to stretch here. We obviously could have had a few more in this class, but we wanted the guys that were signed today, and I'm not telling that we didn't want some other guys that may have went somewhere else. I'm not saying that, but the ones that we have currently on the roster are the ones that we wanted.
Coach, you got Jashad listed as D-line / linebacker. What do you foresee
Who you
there?
talking about?
Stewart,
Yeah.
Jashad. Do you think he can make that transition to linebacker?
I do. I mean, to be honest with you, I was told that sometimes they have to slow down practice because this guy doesn't have there's no throttle on him. He just, and so I think probably, as a coach, your job is to get the best players on the field, and so at the same time. So if he happens to be that defensive end who might bulk up to 60, 260 or 65, if he stays around that 240, 245 mark, he might stand up and be some type of another jack type guy. But to me, this guy's an Arkansas Razorback. He's exactly what we want, motor-wise, physicality. So we're certainly going to try to get him on the field as fast as we can.
Just given this team's situation, do you recruit more on instant need or still projecting down the road with redshirting and developing?
Well, I want to get the best players in America because, as you all know, I truly believe that Arkansas is the best place in America. I believe that. And so this next go-round, there may be some guys that we're going, hey, this guy's a little light, but he's got great feet, or, we may go that way a little bit more. We might not, but we're basically trying to recruit guys that we think can come in here and challenge for a position early in their career.
Sam, could you speak to the composition of the remaining staff, and did you get a linebacker and cornerbacks coach in the last day, and how the rest of this will proceed?
Well, I don't think we've talked about a linebacker coach and a corner coach, but we like who we have on our staff. I would anticipate that we would get completed, I don't know, sometime around Monday or Tuesday of next week. However, we may be looking at some guys that are currently in a bowl situation, and so we may have to wait until their games are completed to hire them.
Coach, I think you said with Miles Slusher, 11:45. You guys were waiting around to find out where he was committing. What was that like? Was that pins and needles, just kind of sweating it out? I mean, he's
It's
a
awesome,
pretty
man.
big time prospect. So
Recruiting is awesome. I mean, it's competition. It's selling you, it's selling the university, it's selling the state of Arkansas. And actually, I was driving home, and he called me on the phone, and usually if they call you 11:45, it's not to tell you they're going to go someplace else. I've yet to ever get a player at his press conference that he didn't tell me he was coming before the press conference. So there's always that little glimmer of hope. You always lose. He's going to tell the team he's going to. And so last night when he told me, it was a great get for the university. Because he's such a good kid too. But, we wanted him at Georgia, and obviously there were some really good teams on his list, and I'm just glad that his parents are going to be able to see him play, that he's an hour and 45 minutes away from them. But, yeah, that's about normal right now. So I was up, and we talked several times back and forth, and texted his parents and all that. So it was those days are awesome. I mean, when you win a battle for a guy like that, they're incredible.
Sam, this team obviously has a lot of needs based on the last couple of years, but how big a need areas were offensive line and running back? And in your meetings with the players, did you talk to Rakeem Boyd, and what kind of feedback did he give you? Because he's obviously draft eligible and he's coming off a great year.
I think you'd probably have to ask Rakeem at this point what he's thinking. We want him on the football team. Obviously, he's a wonderful player. I have spoke with him, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 times. We obviously have to talk to him about his draft status, where he's ranked. And so we have conveyed that to him, and then he got to decide what he wants to do. We obviously want him to come back and help us and help himself with the draft.
As far as offensive line and running back needs, how big a need areas are those? What do you got?
Well, there's always a need for both those positions. I don't know that there'll ever be a year that we don't want to take at least 4 offensive linemen and a couple of backs. They're valuable to our football team. So we probably won't oversign at either one of those positions, but we'll probably take at least 4 offensive linemen and possibly 2 backs.
Coach, the transfer market, is that something that you guys are diving into pretty aggressively? Are you looking at that? And also, do you expect to hit the junior college markets?
Yes and yes. I mean, we're certainly have to leave some scholarships available for transfers, for grad transfers, and right now it doesn't seem to be too big of a problem. We'll fix that when it comes, but we obviously are in the transfer market at different positions. And junior college-wise, I never want to go heavy junior college because I think we can build our team young. I just want the best players we can get, and so if we can go into the junior colleges and get 1, 2, 3 outstanding players that we think can change our program immediately, you have to be right on that now. I mean, you have to be correct in your evaluation. But I don't think we'd ever sign a whole huge number of junior college players, just because I believe you have to base your program out of freshmen and start it in the state of Arkansas.
Sam, what's your philosophy on getting preferred walk-ons, and is there some kids in Arkansas that you're hoping maybe to get that route, or might even go back and offer a scholarship at some point?
I think we have an opportunity with our university with how we can get kids in that Arkansas needs to go heavy on preferred walk-ons and walk-ons in their program. Matter of fact, I was really shocked at the number of walk-on kids that we have on our team now, and I'm very grateful that they're on our football team, but there really is a large number of walk-ons on our team. And so with that said, I think that's why we're going to put all 10 of our coaches in some part recruiting the state of Arkansas. And you can, if you do that, there's a lot of good things can come out of that, but one of them is I think your walk-on program is going to be much better, and the relationships with the high school coach is going to be better. The relationship with the state of Arkansas is going to be better. So I think to get the walk-on program even better than it is now, I think our coaches have to be assigned to one part of the state.
Sam, I just heard, I guess, Jordan Jones announced, I guess he tweeted or something, he's transferring. Is that something you guys talked about? And is that, I mean, were you aware of that? What's your reaction to that?
I really don't want to comment on that. I had visited with him, but all I'll say is we want players that want to be at the University of Arkansas.
Coach, in your visits with Blaine Toll, what was your impressions of him as a kid and then as a player too?
I loved him. They had the best barbecue in the world, and I mean, I don't want to offend anybody. Barbecue, you probably got some good at your house, but maybe you, no. But that barbecue was good, and we went in there and visited with his mom and dad, who are wonderful people, and you can do a lot of things with him. You know, he's got a body. You know, he's a very smart kid. So he was very impressive as a young man. Impressive on tape. I know they play a little bit smaller classification ball here in the state, but very gracious parents and a wonderful home visit.
Kid Burley from New Orleans. Well, I looked at his tape. He just looks real instinctive, a lot of picks. Can you go a little bit deeper on what you saw from him?
Well, we didn't know a whole lot about him, to be honest with you, until we went to school on, I think it was Wednesday of last week. It might have been Thursday, but I think it was Wednesday. And then we were able to meet him, and we sat down and watched his tape. And to be honest with you, he can run, and he'll strike you, you know, and had an opportunity to sit down with the young man for a while, and he's got plenty enough size, but the way he can find the football, you know, you can be big and pretty and not find the ball, and you can be big and pretty and find it, or you can be a little bit shorter, and this guy knows where the football is. He can avoid blockers. He has shoulders that can, you know, he turns his shoulders well to avoid blockers, and he gets to the football, and when he does, he'll strike you pretty good. So going in there, we were really excited about him. We really don't look at who's recruiting somebody. We just either like them or we don't. And the way that you can make fewer mistakes, if you will, on your program is to get them on campus and get them to camp, because then you know what you're going to get. And so in the future, I think we're going to be able to get kids like that on our campus and be able to recruit them a little bit longer than what we did this time. But Arkansas will sell itself, and I think if we get these guys like this, we can really know exactly what we're getting.
What's your read on the in-state class for the February and just the amount of prospects that might be available when it rolls around?
I don't really know, to be honest with you. I know there's some kids in our state still available. I don't know what the percentage of is the guys that signed today. It may be 70-75% of the kids signed today. I don't know. I really didn't watch any of the TV today. We had a lot of other things going on with staff meetings and hiring, and there's a lot of stuff going on. But so I really don't know who's left out there. I will say this, that the Arkansas high school coaches have been very gracious in calling me and saying, hey, would you mind looking at this guy, this guy, this guy? And I've been very thankful for that.
Sam, I know you mentioned you and Barry Odom are longtime friends. Did you guys meet at Mizzou in 2000 when you were there? Kind of, how'd you guys meet? Why have you been such good friends for so long?
Well, if anybody meets Barry Odom, it's very easy to see why you would want to be around him. He's a very honest guy, but wonderful man. But we met, I don't know, we probably met before 2000, to be honest with you. But then, you know, like you and whoever, we just hit it off. And he kept getting better, and ended up getting a head coach job in Missouri, and we stayed in contact and talk all the time. We talked all the time before I was able to hire him, and so I have a lot of respect for him, but I always have, and over the last however long he's been here, 8 days, 7 days, I don't know how long he's been here, but my love and caring for him has grown more than even what it was before, because he's a real deal.
As far as your staff, are you looking to add anybody with Arkansas ties, a guy that either from here or had played at Arkansas?
I'm not saying that we won't. I have an idea about who we're going to hire, and a lot of that has to do with if I know them or not. A lot of them has to do with where they can recruit. So I don't know that any of the guys have a lot of Arkansas ties. I'm not for sure. The head coach does, but I'm not for sure if any of the other guys do or not. But I do know that we'll have all 10 of them out there and running around the state in the spring.
How well did you know Brad Davis before hiring him? And then also, he's an offensive line coach. You're an offensive line coach. How's that dynamic going to work this season?
Brad Davis was recruited by me in 1998 to the University of Oklahoma. He played there, and then we got fired, and so I went on about my way. And he stayed there, and I believe in 2001 they won a national championship, and he was a starter on the football team. Just honestly, probably an overachiever. You move on a few years, and I hired him at North Carolina to come and grad assistant with me, and he was as good as grad assistant as you possibly could have. And then he he went to Portland State from there, and so he started kind of going up the chain of the coaching world, and along the way, I certainly have been proud of him and all that he's done with going to Florida and going over to Missouri, and in my opinion, he's as good an offensive line coach as there is in the country. And he was actually the first guy that came here when I did, and a great recruiter, a great coach, great man, great family, and he like my son, to be honest with you.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys.